What if you took the jolliest man on Earth and turned him into an invincible super soldier built only for harvesting souls? Yeah, these idiots accidentally took the Terminator and turned him into a mall Santa, and now they have to stop him before he brutalizes everyone in town in the most horrific ways imaginable. We're here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the killer robot Santa in Christmas, Bloody Christmas. It's Christmas Eve in this small town, but it's about to turn into a massacre. There's a new android Santa making his first appearance at the local toy store, but this thing was originally built for the military, and now they're planning to let the little kids sit on its lap. Just down the street, manager Tori here shows up to the record store in the middle of a big snowstorm. While they're closing up, she starts discussing plans for the night with her employee, Robbie. She was planning to meet up with a Tinder date at the bar because she's got nothing better to do, but she's too embarrassed to even show him the guy's picture. After taking a drink from a bottle that was supposed to be for their friends, Robbie convinces her to let him see the mystery man, and starts immediately roasting the hell out of her when he recognizes who it is. Taking out his phone, he shows her an embarrassing video of the guy playing guitar and finally convinces Tori that she should hang out with him instead. Before they head to the bar, she just wants to stop by the toy store and visit their friends first, but that was their biggest mistake. On the way there, they start arguing about their favorite Christmas albums until they finally arrive outside of the store. Their friend Lana here comes to let them in, but as they follow her to the back, they have no idea that they're walking right past the Terminator Santa, and he's about to show them why you don't want to be on the naughty list. Okay, these are total degenerates, and while they're busy disrespecting the spirit of Christmas, they have no idea that they're standing right next to the Grim Reaper. Remember, Santa here isn't just some Chuck E. Cheese knockoff made out of plastic and rubber. He's a military-grade android designed for one purpose and one purpose only: the ruthless elimination of human life. And you do not want to be there if he reverts back to his old settings. Whatever company built this thing originally made it for the Department of Defense, and it cost them over $1 trillion. When creating it was that expensive, there's no way that they went and rebuilt him from the ground up just to make him safe for toy stores. They probably had some unpaid intern just update the code in the most cost-efficient way possible. Santa's original purpose was to be the most dangerous threat on any battlefield, meaning that he'll have every advantage needed to make killing humans as easy as possible. We should also expect advanced targeting systems like radar, thermal imaging, and motion detection, meaning that he can identify targets with extreme accuracy even in low visibility. But to make him as deadly as possible, he needs to be able to think, and that's why he's also most likely programmed with advanced AI, allowing him to formulate plans and change his tactics on the fly. Now, with that being said, Santa here hasn't shown himself to be a threat just yet. But Terminator is my favorite movie of all time, and I've seen it enough times to know that if you put me in a room with a military-grade android, I'm not taking any chances. I'm just not. The store is officially closed, meaning that there won't be any more little kids looking to take their pictures with Santa. So to me, it seems like the most obvious thing to do here is to just shut him down. For deployment overseas, Santa would need a reliable power source to keep him functioning, and it's probably a system of lithium-ion batteries or methanol fuel cells. Either way, this means that just unplugging him from any external power source won't be enough. That's the first step, but we also need to check him for a panel somewhere on his body where we can actually manually turn him off. The best way to deal with a threat is to eliminate it before the trouble even starts. But like I said before, these degenerates aren't exactly focused on survival. When this thing eventually goes rogue, you've got almost no chance of beating him in a fair fight. Anyone with a brain should have predicted that turning a killer robot into a mall Santa was a recipe for disaster, and now he's about to show them exactly why. Lana here notices that they opened her present early, but they are already messed up enough as it is, and that's when Jay finally joins the party. Their friends make a mistake of asking what they've been up to, and Robbie puts her on blast for planning to meet up with the Tinder guy. While they put their drinks together for a Christmas toast, they're surprised to hear Santa suddenly start laughing from the other side of the store. The couple explains that Santa here was actually put on recall, and somebody is finally coming to get it later that week. Tori here agrees to one last drink after they start making out in the fake snow, but it's the last time that they're ever going to see each other alive. As they stumble out the door, Santa wishes them all a Merry Christmas before turning his attention to their friends in the back of the store. At a bar, they see a news report about why the Santas got recalled, saying how they're going back to their original military settings. Without realizing they're in danger, they just ask to shut it off because it's depressing, and go right back to roasting each other about their dating habits. Apparently, Tori here hasn't found a man who can satisfy her needs, but Mustache Boy keeps trying to convince her that he's the one for the job. They spend some more time arguing about music until the bar starts getting ready to close up, but that's when the sheriff walks in looking for a drink, and the vibe gets tense as soon as he walks in. He and the mustache don't seem to be getting along, but Tori does what she can to keep things friendly. And after drunkenly complaining about his family for a while, the sheriff pays for their drinks and heads back home. Laughing about it, the others decide to do the same. It's obvious that these two like each other, and everyone knows there's no such thing as a more romantic first date than the local dive bar on Christmas Eve. But unfortunately, their workplace romance is about to be cut short. Back at the toy store, Santa overhears their friends arguing about whether or not Tori and Robbie are gonna hook up, and that's when he decides that it's time to turn this place into a bloodbath. Coming to life, he climbs down from the display and quietly makes his way through the aisles, where he sees those two perverts getting freaky right on his personal throne. Before they even know what's going on, the robot uses its military-grade strength to chop Jay's body almost completely in half with one swing, making one down with 11 more to go. The girl makes a break for it while he's distracted, but Santa climbs onto the stage and catches her running for the door. Jumping down, she can't get it unlocked before he closes in and chucks the axe directly at her, but she dodges the throw and takes off screaming back into the store. Alright, you guys, let's talk about something serious for just a moment. Have you ever witnessed a car accident or been involved in one yourself? Accidents can be scary and leave you feeling overwhelmed, especially if you're injured. And let's face it, dealing with insurance companies in the aftermath of an injury can be a real hassle. Tons of paperwork, and the stress of getting better can make it hard to focus on what truly matters, which is your health. Here's where a strong team like Morgan & Morgan can come in. They specialize in helping people who've been seriously injured get the compensation they deserve. They're known for fighting for their clients and achieving incredible results. Like, for example, just recently, they secured a whopping $12 million for a car crash victim in Florida. That's 34 times what the insurance company initially offered. Imagine the difference that kind of money could make in your life. Oh, and the best part is that you won't pay Morgan & Morgan a dime unless they win your case. They work on a contingency fee basis, so you have peace of mind knowing that there's no upfront cost. And let me tell you, not all of us can afford the representation that we deserve. So if you've been seriously injured in an accident, Saw game, or Sinister Death game, and you think you might have a case, don't let the insurance companies walk all over you. Morgan & Morgan might be able to help out. You can click the link at forthepeople.com/beat. The link is also in the description below, or you can hit the QR that's on the screen. It's so easy, and it could potentially change your life. Thanks, Morgan & Morgan, and now, back to the show. Okay, I guess that's what they get for doing their dirty deeds in a store where little kids play. Now, if these morons had any survival skills, then they would have called their friends as soon as they saw that news report. Jay never stood a chance, but thanks to him working as a meat shield, Lana might still get away. Her main focus needs to be on escaping. The good news is he's already shown two major weaknesses during this fight. The first one you might have noticed is that Santa here is slow as even when he has a target directly in his sights. As long as he's Michael Myers walking after us, then running for your life is still a perfectly viable strategy. We also saw that he'll go for a ranged attack if he sees an opportunity, but his throw at Lana here missed by like a mile. The fire axe is a devastating weapon if he lands a hit, but when he throws it, he leaves himself unarmed. So during the next battle, we can try luring him into throwing his weapons away, giving us a chance to escape or pick it up and use it against him. The best place to target would be the robot's head and neck to cut off its central processor, but even just destroying its eye sensors would make him much less of a threat. Now, it may not seem like it, but there are actually quite a few features in the store that give Lana here an advantage if she uses them creatively. So far, I've noticed the ice cream counter, the fire hose, and the fake snow machine.
the first thing that I would do is turn on that snow machine, which should help to obscure Santa's vision and might even make the floor slippery, causing him to fall.
Oh no, he might fall.
At the ice cream counter, there's going to be a built-in refrigeration system that uses pressurized coolant. If Lana lures Santa close enough, she can puncture the coolant line and use the freezing gas to damage Santa's internal components. The fire hose at the back of the store is a great option too, because not only would it be a powerful knockback tool, but it might also be strong enough to short out his electronics. But as we're about to see, Lana here won't be making it to Christmas morning.
Outside, the girl's friends are literally walking right past the front door with no idea that she's being hunted by a killer robot at that very moment. She tries her best to hide, but Santa here quickly finds her crouching behind one of the shelves. Without hesitation, he effortlessly lifts her into the air and smashes her face straight through a glass display, slamming her against it over and over again until she's finally dead. That makes 2 down with 10 more to go. Her friends actually hear the screaming from outside, but they think it's just the couple getting freaky and decide to not get involved. Once he's done with her, Santa goes back for his axe and walks out onto the street, looking down the road just as Tori and Robbie disappear around the corner. After some more arguing about horror movies this time, they finally make it to Robbie's filthy old truck, and it takes him a few tries to even get the thing started. They manage to get out of there with no idea that Santa was just about to close in, but it won't be long before Father Christmas here pays them a visit. When they get to Tori's house, she's annoyed to see the neighbor's car parked in her usual spot. Before going in, she warns Robbie that her sister and her husband are home too, but they should already be fast asleep since it's after midnight. They immediately start blasting music as loud as possible while Robbie tries to impress her with some air guitar, but outside, Robo Santa is finally catching up. He's about to find the house when one of the neighbors gets his attention. A few drinks later, and these two finally decide to kick off their inappropriate workplace relationship. But while they're busy getting it on, Santa here walks over to the neighbor's house and chops straight through the front door. The father gets out of bed, thinking that it must be somebody looking at their presents early, but boy is he surprised to see the military-grade android marching up the steps. He tries threatening to call the cops. Raising his axe, the robot flings it across the room, hitting him square in the back and sending him tumbling over the couch. It's not enough to kill him, but Santa isn't finished just yet, and while he's crawling for safety, the robot catches up and pulls the axe out of his back before lifting his boot and brutally curb stomping him on the steps. That makes 3 down with 9 more to go. A moment later, the man's wife comes to check on the noise, screaming in terror as the killer starts coming her way. Locking the door, she quickly runs over and locks herself inside the bathroom, but it isn't long before the robot smashes his way through. As he breaks into the bathroom, the woman quickly grabs a pair of scissors to defend herself, but she ends up hesitating just at the last second. And spinning the axe around, Santa uses the pointy end to pierce her straight through the eye, making 4 down with 8 more to go. Meanwhile, back at their place, Tori grabs a drink from the kitchen just in time to accidentally witness the horrific violence taking place next door. Terrified, she calls Robbie down to come look, and when they peek through the blinds, this time evil Santa is staring directly at them. Realizing that they could be next, the girl immediately jumps into action, but Santa's about to turn this house into his own personal hunting ground.
Okay, you would have to be a total idiot to confuse the sounds of someone chopping your front door down with someone opening their presents a night early. The mistake he made here was turning his back when he saw Santa winding up the throw. I get the urge to run, but the better strategy would have been to stay focused on dodging the throw or quickly roll over the couch and use it for cover. Then he could have taken advantage of Santa's snail-like pace to make a run for the door. His wife at least had the common sense to barricade herself in the bathroom and grab a weapon, but everything fell apart when she started to panic. When someone's chopping through a door, you have a free shot to go for their hands or face as long as you time it right, and she could have used that chance to go for one of Santa's eyes instead. The thing is, I think we all know that fighting was never going to work out, so the best strategy of all would be to try and escape right out the window that was right behind her. Now, when it comes to Tori and her friends, they're already at a massive disadvantage in the fight because of Santa's military-grade technology. Plus, they don't have the weapons or training to confidently deal with this kind of a threat. It also doesn't help that they've been partying for several hours straight, and the snowstorm outside is going to make it much harder to escape or get help. But at least now they know he's coming, which means they can start coming up with a plan. One person's job is to call for help and find the car keys, while the others lock down the house by blocking the doors with heavy furniture, closing the curtains, and turning off the lights and the fucking Christmas music. Next, we'll need something to defend ourselves. Traditional weapons aren't the best, but they're better than nothing, so I'd go for a blunt object with good reach, like a bat, or a crowbar, or even a frying pan that could double as a shield. More great tips, more survival tips, more great ideas, more great tips for survival like the ones I just said on the How to Beat channel. Make sure you subscribe right now. Make me look good. They may not have military technology, but they do have tons of alcohol to make Molotov cocktails, giving them a devastating long-ranged option. They can also use aerosol cans with lighters as makeshift flamethrowers to hold him back in case he gets close. No matter how lucky they get, this fight is still almost too difficult to win, so instead we should really focus on escaping. I'd pay attention to Santa's movements, and when he finally breaks into one side of the house, that's when you take advantage of his slow speed to make a run for the car, only fighting him if you absolutely have to.
The two of them immediately start scrambling for a phone, trying to call for help before Santa gets there. The problem is, they're both too messed up to even find one, and when they look out the window again, they notice that Santa is already gone. Panicking, Tori runs into her sister's room and starts waking them up, telling the couple that they need to get out of there, like now. Confused, they still don't realize the true danger of their situation, and that's when the lights suddenly go out. Going for the door, they have to hide when they notice the robot creeping around outside the house, trying to stay as quiet as possible so that he won't hear them. The only one who still doesn't get the point is the husband Mike, but the others send him to get the keys to their truck while they discuss the escape plan. Realizing that Santa disappeared, Robbie gets up to peek out the window, but that's when the husband comes back loudly, announcing that he found the keys. This gets the robot's attention, and they can hear him searching around on the other side. But just when it looks like he's gone, he suddenly chucks one of the bodies from next door straight through the window, and climbs inside while the others look on in terror. Tori tries to save her friend, but she isn't able to get him in time, and her sister has to pull her back. Luckily, Robbie's able to block the next attack by using the body as a meat shield, but his luck will not last forever. Grabbing a glass bottle, Tori hurls it at the robot's head as the four of them make a break for the door, but he quickly catches up and cuts them off with his axe. The poor sister gets grabbed first, and the others just leave her for dead as Santa brutally snaps her neck so hard that he almost tears off her head. The rest of them scramble for the back door, but Mike here doesn't make it in time, and Santa goes after him with the axe next, making 6 down with 6 more to go. As for Tori and Robbie, they're able to make it back to his truck, but the girl starts having a mental breakdown at the worst possible time. Robbie finally manages to snap her out of it, but now they can't get the damn truck to start, and just when he finally does, he ends up reversing full speed directly into the neighbor's car. Hearing the crash, the dude comes out furious that they just destroyed his whip, thinking that they're trying to pull a hit and run. He's so distracted that he doesn't hear their warning as Santa walks up right behind him and splits his head clean in half with a single chop. That makes 7 down, with 5 more to go, and Santa flings the man's body straight through the windshield, terrifying Robbie as he throws the truck back into gear. This time they make it a couple more feet before plowing straight into a tree, and now it looks like they won't be going anywhere. Before they can even react, Santa tears the windshield off and starts pulling Robbie out by his hair as the robot throws him on the ground and methodically goes back for his axe. Just as he's struggling to get up, Santa buries the axe directly into his face, brutally ending him just as the police finally arrive on the scene. That makes 8 down with 4 more to go, and he's about to go after Tori next, but just as he goes for the door, the officer opens fire on him with his shotgun, finally managing to drop the bot after several direct hits.
Okay, this just went from ho 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 to oh hell no, faster than Santa eats a plate full of cookies. At least he knows she'll pick a good song to play at his funeral, but Robbie and Tori, both of you idiots just all the way up. Usually people in these situations don't get a chance to hear on the news exactly what's about to happen, but not this time. If you just paid attention for 1 second and told your friends to shut off the damn robot, this Christmas would have been saved. But no, let's just ignore all the warning signs until it turns into a total massacre. Great job, morons. Then, once Santa was coming for you next, you two immediately freaked out and started scrambling with absolutely no sign of a plan. To be fair, that's a pretty reasonable reaction, but you're gonna have to be faster than that if you want to beat a military android. As for you, Tori, you had no problem leaving your own sister for dead without a moment's hesitation. But then you waited until you were out by the car to start having a panic attack? Just wait 5 more feet until you're in the car to start freaking out. Then at least Robbie can drive you away. But no, now that we've come this far thanks to your sister's sacrifice, let's just stop and wait for him to catch up, right? Come on now. But when it comes to who f***ed up the worst though, Robbie, I gotta say it looks like you're the winner. You see, this right here is why you want to always make sure that your car actually starts when you turn the key. Because you never know, the day might come when you're being chased by the Terminator in a Santa suit. Okay? The worst part is there was no rush because it takes Santa like 3 to 5 business days to walk a total of 10 feet. Once you got the car started though, all you had to do was calmly drive away. This was definitely not the moment to randomly floor it backwards without even looking. Great escape attempt, buddy. You barely made it out of the driveway. When the truck got stuck, you should have just climbed out through the window and ran on foot. After all, you still had like 100+ years before Santa got there, plus the pissed off neighbor to use as a meat shield. It doesn't get much better than that. But when you managed to crash the truck, not once, but twice, that was the moment when I knew that you absolutely deserved whatever the was about to happen to you. The worst part is, you finally got out of the friend zone and only would have had to survive 5 more seconds before the cops showed up. But with survival skills like that, I guess it was only a matter of time before Santa claimed your souls. And Robbie and Tori, it looks like you guys all the way up. The officer immediately calls for backup before taking a second to make sure that Robo Santa is dead. Tori here is so shaken up that she doesn't even trust the police right now, but he takes her to the car and promises that help is on the way. The officer goes back and gets in the driver's seat, and the girl starts telling him that the attacker looked just like the robotic Santa from the toy store. She wants the officer to go check it out right away, but they're so busy arguing that they don't even notice Santa getting back on his feet. All of a sudden, the robot breaks the windshield with his axe, but the officer knocks him down with another blast from the shotgun. Getting out of the car, Tori tells him to make sure it's really dead this time, but the second that he takes his eyes off of it, the robot grabs his weapon and knocks him to the ground. Fighting for his life, the man tries his best to get back up, but Santa levels the shotty and turns his head into a spray of red mist, making 9 down with 3 more to go. While covered in the man's blood, Tori takes cover as Santa fires off another shot, but she gets an opportunity to strike back when he runs out of shells. Throwing it in drive, she hits the gas and absolutely plows straight through him before hitting a U-turn at the end of the street and coming back down to run over him again. It's an effective strategy, and by now Santa here is looking seriously messed up. But if she thinks that he's dead already, then she's in for a bad surprise. As she's speeding back to town, Tori grabs a radio and starts trying to call the station until she finally sees the sheriff coming in the other direction and immediately pulls over, begging them for help. The girl tries her best to explain the situation, but she's driving a stolen police car and covered in someone's blood, so they aren't taking any chances as they arrest her and take her down to the police station. Not believing her story, the sheriff sends another officer to check it out, even though she tries to warn him that he'll die if he goes alone. He tries to get Tori's explanation of the events, but the whole story about a killer Robo Santa is just too crazy to be true, and it doesn't help that she's clearly been partying all night long. The sheriff says that he wants to believe her, but Officer Smith here is absolutely furious that one of his best friends was just killed. Trying to de-escalate things, the boss tells Smith to go check on the others. Turning to Tori, he explains that if her story is true, then their only choice is to work together if they're going to stop the real killer, and lets her use the bathroom to get cleaned up while he makes a pot of coffee. When she looks in the mirror, the girl sees that she's still covered in her friends' and family's blood. She starts having another panic attack just from the sheer insanity of the whole situation. But that's when she overhears the officers arguing outside and rushes out to find Smith here getting ready for the fight of his life.
It seems like they haven't been able to get through to anyone at the crime scene, and they need to get over there ASAP to find out what happened. They tell Tori to stay put, even though she tries to warn them that they're walking straight into a death trap. But these two are set on finishing the battle before Santa gets anyone else.
Okay, at least these two are ready for a fight, but they're going to get themselves killed if they don't learn from their past mistakes. The first officer made a critical mistake by not going for the double tap. Even though Santa was down, you always have to confirm the kill, and Tori made the same mistake when she ran him over with the car. At least she came back and hit him again, but even that still wasn't enough, so next time we need to make sure that his critical systems are completely destroyed. The sheriff here knows Tori, so he should have listened when she tried to warn him. He ended up sending his people in with no idea what they were up against, but if they'd stuck together and waited for backup, then they would have had a much better chance at actually taking Santa down. Plus, she knows more about what they're fighting than anyone else. Now, as strong as he is, we know that Santa can be taken down with powerful enough hits from a strong enough weapon like a shotgun, so everyone should be packing as much heat as humanly possible. For defense, I'd throw on some body armor like Officer Smith here. It won't make you invincible, but it definitely can't hurt. I'd also take non-lethal weapons like flashbangs and tasers that could stun Santa or disrupt his electronics. I mean, you're in a fucking police station. Squabble up. As long as they confirm the kill this time and work together, they should be able to finally take him down and end this this nightmare, forever.
The officers are just about to leave when all of a sudden they hear an ambulance speeding towards the station. Tori immediately realizes what's about to happen, but there's no time to prepare themselves as the killer Santa comes whipping around the corner and crashes full speed directly into their car. As the ambulance goes up in flames, the sheriff throws Tori the keys to the holding room, telling her to lock herself inside while they go to check things out. Terrified, the girl asks them for a weapon, and now that they know she isn't crazy, the sheriff lets her take her Smith's revolver. The officers rush outside while Tori watches through the window, but strangely, when they get to the ambulance, Santa is nowhere in sight. The sheriff moves back around to check things out, but a few seconds later, they hear him scream and fire off a few rounds before everything abruptly goes quiet. All of a sudden, the man's dead body comes flying through the air and lands directly on top of the blazing wreckage, making 10 down with 2 more to go. Smith rushes over to avenge his fallen comrades, but his shots don't seem to work as Santa marches towards him. Overpowering him, Santa pins the man against the truck and uses his own weapon to blow his head off at point-blank range, making 11 down with just 1 more to go. The whole time, Tori here has been watching through the window, but that's when Santa turns and locks in on her next. Terrified, she quickly turns around and grabs a taser from the desk, taking a shotgun from the wall and some ammo just in case. She goes out to the lobby and starts trying the phones, but she can't seem to get any service. Frustrated, the girl sneaks back out and makes a break for the radio, but unfortunately, that's not working either. And while she's getting ready for a fight, the last of the power finally goes out. Tori rushes back through the building, keeping an eye on every direction, but she can't decide which way to go. And that's when she hears a crash from out in the hall. Thinking quickly, she takes cover behind a desk, and sure enough, Santa here walks in and starts searching the room. For a moment, it almost looks like he can't find her, and he starts throwing furniture around in the hopes of drawing her out. All that she can do is sit there, staying as quiet as possible, until he finally ends up just a few feet away. She ducks back under when he catches her peeking and throws the desk clear across the room. Ripping the shotgun out of her hands, he grabs Tori by the hair and lifts her off the ground, about to finish her off with the axe when she remembers the taser in her pocket. Jamming it into his neck, she uses it to knock him down just in time. And this time, it actually looks like Santa might be dead for good. Tori takes a second to hock a loogie of victory on the robot's corpse before running out of the building. But Santa here isn't done until Christmas is over, and he quickly gets back up and starts coming after her. The girl makes it to the ambulance and tries calling for help over the radio, only to see Santa coming for her a second later. Starting the engine, she throws it in drive and takes off down the road, but what she doesn't realize is that Santa is still holding on, and he immediately starts reaching for the back door. Tori's too busy looking ahead, so by the time that she even realizes what's happening, he's already in the back of the ambulance and gaining on her fast.
Okay, so much for that plan. Once again, Tori made the same old basic mistake here of failing to confirm the kill. She even threw away the taser like a complete fucking moron after just finding out that it might have been the most effective weapon to use against him. From Tori's fight, we learned that a powerful enough shock actually takes him down. So for our new plan, we need to combine the new information with an old idea from before. A defibrillator delivers a much shorter but much more intense pulse. They have a much higher current, making it more capable of damaging electrical components or causing short circuits, and more useful for destroying the robot. The good news is that every ambulance comes with a defibrillator, and that's why we're going to use them to take Santa down for good. The first thing that she needs to do is buckle her seatbelt and crash the ambulance into something. That should knock Santa off his feet and give her time to get in the back and execute the plan. Then all she has to do is use the defibrillators to hit Santa with an extremely powerful and focused shock. But this time, don't stop until you're sure he's dead.
She tries some evasive maneuvers to shake him off, but it seems like nothing's working, and with the axe just inches from her head, her only choice is to put on her seatbelt and crash directly into a parked car. The impact sends Santa's whole body flying straight through the windshield, saving her life just in time. Tori's pretty banged up, but luckily still alive. The only problem is, so is Santa, and she comes around the front of the truck just as he's struggling back to his feet. Thinking quickly, Tori gets back in the ambulance and hits the gas, pinning the Santa bot underneath the overturned car, but she's not done yet. While he's trying to punch his way to freedom, she climbs on top of the car and tears a rag from her shirt, stuffing it into the gas tank and using a lighter to cause another massive explosion that should hopefully take Santa down for good. They end up right in front of her record shop, and needing a place to get off the street, she uses a box to break inside, collapsing against the wall out of pure exhaustion. Just as she's finally starting to breathe again, Santa here suddenly jolts back to life, with green lasers shooting out of his eyes. Somehow this thing is still ticking, and it seems like the injuries only made it want to kill her more, because he tears off his own arm without a moment's hesitation, just to get out from underneath the car. As soon as Tori lets her guard down, a horrified look crosses her face as she hears the sound of a robot marching after her. And sure enough, the horrifically mangled metal skeleton appears in the doorway a few seconds later. Sneaking past, she's able to make it to another hiding spot without the robot noticing, but she knows that it's only a matter of time before her luck runs out. Looking over, that's when she notices a mannequin holding a giant sword. It's her only hope of fighting back, so while he's distracted, she quickly grabs the weapon and gets in position behind one of the aisles, waiting for just the right moment to make her move. So far, Tori hasn't been seen, and she waits behind the shelves until the robot passes her by. The android turns and crosses over her with its lasers, but just when it starts to close in, it accidentally knocks over one of the displays. Tori sees her opportunity and lunges in for the kill, jamming her sword straight through the robot's chest until she pins him against the wall. Dropping his axe, the robot goes up in a shower of sparks, and it looks like he's finally defeated as the lights in his eyes shut off. Tori runs for the phone, but just as she's about to make a call, she sees the lasers turn back on. Just then, this motherfucker reaches down and pulls the sword out of his own chest to start coming after her again. Now Tori has to try something new, and when she looks up, the fire sprinklers give her an idea. The girl takes a basket full of receipts and sets it on fire before holding it up to the detector. This turns on the sprinklers just in time, but Santa chops her in the ankle with his axe, causing her to fall back down behind the desk. She tries to pull herself back up using the counter, but he swings the axe and brutally chops off 3 of her fingers just as he finally goes down in a shower of sparks. Horrifically injured, Tori tries crawling for safety, pulling herself along the floor of the store, but Santa rolls over and starts crawling after her like a zombie without any legs. Unfortunately, she isn't fast enough, and the robot grabs her by the ankle, but she's able to slow him down by dropping a shelf full of tapes on his back. Climbing back on top of the counter, Tori sees that the robot is still coming after her and realizes that her only choice is to use electricity. Reaching behind her, she pulls the electrical wire right off the wall and sticks it straight into the robot's head, using it to finally take him down once and for all. This time, there's no coming back because the power surge causes the robot to explode in a ball of flames, making one Santa down with no more to go. With blood pouring out from every part of her body, Tori drags herself out to the street and collapses in the middle of the road, having survived the most horrific nightmare of her life, but only after losing a lot of friends along the way. At least Robo Santa is finally stopped, but in the end, it seems like the real winner here was her Tinder date, Emmett, who was peacefully at home playing video games and didn't have to deal with any of this shit. Christmas, bloody Christmas. More like holy fucking shit. If you've made it this far in the video, then congratulations. You are my friend, and we should all go to a concert together. I'm sorry, but that movie just, it like lowered my IQ 50 points or something. Oh my god. Shout out to the filmmakers for editing something and rendering it out when they were done with it, but god damn it, son. Anyways, if you liked today's video, leave a like and subscribe, and check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. I'm the guy. I'll see you in the next video, and have a damn good day.